Welcome to the Elise Morgan Experience, the podcast where transformation meets sass, where personal development gets a New York attitude, and where we're not afraid to tackle those controversial topics head on. I'm your host, Elise Morgan, a life coach, author, and transformational speaker on a mission to help you live a life you absolutely love. Whether you're going through a challenge or chasing dreams, we are going to unlock the secrets of the law of attraction, conquer your self-doubt, master your mind, and navigate life's curveballs with a smile. And it's not just about me talking at you. It's about us together exploring the incredible power that lies within you. So get ready to embark on an exciting journey to create a life you love with me leading the way with my unapologetic authenticity, straight talk, humor, and love. Buckle up and hit subscribe because this isn't just a podcast. It's an invitation to a life-changing experience. Let's make some magic happen. Hello world and welcome to the Elise Morgan Experience. I'm your host, Elise Morgan, and this is episode 20, The Wait at the Airport. You will soon see as I speak in the episode that this episode title is also a play on words. But before I really get into what this episode is about, I wanted to convey how amazed I am at the airport in and of itself. The airplanes, how we travel, I find it so fascinating. We basically fly through the air, pretty comfortable, serve snacks, sometimes meals, watch movies, and even have freaking Wi-Fi. I walk around in amazement at the planes and how they operate and how advanced it all is since the Wright brothers' idea of flight, which, mind you, wasn't that long ago. It was December 27th, 1903, that their first successful flight occurred in North Carolina. I'm amazed at the mechanics of the planes and all that goes into moving them, flying in them, fixing them, and how safe it really is to fly. My brain cannot comprehend that kind of mechanical stuff, especially the imagination of thinking of it all and then manifesting it and creating it. My younger son, Wes, is a mechanical engineer and probably gets all of it, but he definitely did not get that kind of thinking brain from me. No way. So what I'm getting at is the whole concept of air travel is still fascinating to me, and I appreciate it all. And like I said, it wasn't that long ago that we were traveling on horseback or covered, or in covered wagons. The technology and the science behind this all is truly so remarkable to me. Anyway, enough about me being like a little kid at the airport sometimes, mesmerized by all of this. But it does tie into what this episode is about, or at least on the subject of airports. But it does flow into life in general for us all, what I'm about to speak about. So if you've been following me and listening for a while, you know that I'm always trying to either teach you something or open your mind to something or to wake you up a bit to how you may or may not be thinking. So first, I want to bring up the wait at the airport. And I'm speaking about the WAIT. Another thing that fascinates me, about the airport is how people act, especially when they have to wait, either in a line or for delayed flight or for any other complication that most major airports have. In my observation over my last couple of flights, actually the last couple of years, I find it so disturbing and disheartening how irate and discourteous some people get at, like the ticket agents, the flight attendants, the airport workers, the traffic getting there and walking, all the things. First of all, it's not these people's fault. Second, if you can take a breath for a minute and realize this form of travel is remarkable and that you can get across the country in about 5 hours to what used to take probably more than a month back in the day, and just be grateful for this kind of travel and understand that millions of people pass through airports on the regular. And guess what? Shit happens. Weather delays, plane malfunctions, cancellations, and none of these things, and I repeat, none of these things are life or death situations, just major inconveniences. I myself had a very, very long delay recently on a connecting flight last month, and it sucked having to wait. And it was very late in the evening, almost getting to the early morning hours, and I was extremely tired. But what I focused on was that I had a seat to sit on, I can't even talk, in my waiting, at the gate. I was at a different gate, but I found a seat. I was grateful for that. I was grateful that there was a bathroom right near me, and I was very grateful and focusing on that I had a place to buy water and snacks. Now, others may have been bitching and moaning the whole entire time, complaining, sitting there pissed and disgruntled or whatever else. But this is how I see it. That time is going to pass anyway. So why spend it in such a negative emotion when there is nothing you can do about the situation anyway? Make the best of the situation. And then the time that you have to wait is a little bit more, for lack of a better word, pleasurable. You can sit there and bitch and moan and complain and make it like the worst thing. And guess what? You still have to sit there anyway, right? I think a lot of humans are spoiled, ungrateful, entitled brats and take everything for granted. And if some humans would take a step back and look at the situation in the grand scheme of life way, they wouldn't get so pissed off all the time, because in the grand scheme, guess what? Your delayed flight or canceled flight usually doesn't mean shit in the grand scheme of your life. Also, if you do want to make a complaint or vent, why does it have to be so nasty? Why can't you be nice about it? Now, I know some people are at their wits' end for a plethora of reasons while waiting at the airport. Plethora. I've done that word wrong on this episode before. Plethora. I like the word, but I say it wrong a lot. So let's start that again. For a plethora of reasons while waiting at the airport. However, like I said, you can take that few seconds to breathe before you lose your shit. And then you will be calmer and better equipped to handle whatever is going on at that given time. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? It's like what I say about life itself. It's all about perspective. As the great Wayne Dyer has said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So for those of you, and you know who you are, you have lost your shit at the airport, or you were just so upset and pissed off, while you were there. Now you know. Just take a few deep breaths. Think about what's going on in the grand scheme. Change your perspective and chill. And yes, that goes for you parents that have whining, crying toddlers through all of it too. That task is borderline impossible, right? But believe me, I know how hard that can be, but you can still just look at your child losing their shit and just be grateful that they are healthy and able to scream and run around the airport driving you insane. That's the true test of gratitude, right? Anyway, now I want to talk about the wait at the airport, and that's the WEIGHT. The last few times I flew, I really focus on how overweight so many people are. And to remind you, I was a personal trainer, a fitness model, and I competed. So I did always notice, but more and more humans are becoming so overweight that they can't even walk through the airport, let alone run for a flight that they are late for. In fact, you don't have to be overweight to not be able to run for a late flight, because the average person does not exercise at all. I think it's now up to 20% of the world population exercises regularly. So that leaves 80% of the world that does not. So as I watch these humans struggle to walk through the airport, struggle to fit in the seat in the gate area and on the plane, having to ask for a seatbelt extender as they were eating horrible, fattening, unhealthy food and beverages, I was just so taken aback, saying to myself that some of these people wouldn't be able to run for their lives if needed. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one to make fun of anyone. I was a trainer, like I said, and I wanted to help people get in shape and be healthy. I was basically kind of sad and also, for the lack of a better word, mad at what I saw. For starters, your health is at risk, which puts a burden on you and your family. Your poor health also puts a burden on the healthcare system, trying to take care of the illnesses that come from being overweight and eating unhealthy. The medications you may be on solely because of your weight cause illnesses or the body issues, your heart, your joints. You have them because being out of shape and overweight. I'm not saying everyone needs to be an athlete, of course. You don't have to be that status. Just be healthy and of the size for your height and for your frame. In society now, for this issue and for a dozen more, but I'll keep it to this one. For now in society, they go so far the other way to overcompensate when something may be wrong. And in this instance, the models in the magazines and fashion shows were always so skinny and emaciated, and society wanted models to look more healthy and, for lack of a better term, more normal or average. Okay, cool, that's great. But now, because society has gotten so obese, advertisers, companies, businesses are now promoting it using obese models in a whole slew of ways. So to me, this is just as bad as having anorexic models because they are both so unhealthy. So if you are obese or anorexic, you are both so unhealthy. So that should not be like the status of what people should strive to look like. Either one of those. We have had plus size models for decades. So now why is it that that's the norm? Victoria's Secret was always known to have a certain look and have that fashion show that was on TV, and now it went so much the other way that I personally find it offensive seeing some of these models so overweight, so fat, and so unhealthy. I'm sorry, but I do. Besides the now men dressed in the women's stuff from Victoria's Secret, but that shit is for a whole other episode. Anyway, for the moment, back to the airport. Because if you remember, there was a woman or maybe a few people who wanted to sue the airlines for not making seats big enough for the larger people and going on a rant that they shouldn't have to pay for more than one seat, etc. I mean, it was a whole big thing. I think it was on YouTube. It was just a lot of very overweight people just angry. But here's how I look at it. Where is your accountability to yourself and how big you have let yourself get? There are very, very few medical conditions that cause a human being to weigh like 300 to 400 pounds or more. So instead of getting mad and having the world change for you, kind of how all the woke are, just saying, why can't you take responsibility and accountability for where you have allowed yourself to get to? And what about the people that do fit in the seat and have to sit next to you pouring out over the armrest into their seats? I know I sound so mean right now, but I'm not trying to be. I'd be the first person wanting to help you walk and help you lose weight and help you get healthy. What astounds me is the amount of rage at others for not accommodating to someone being extremely overweight, for instance, on the plane, as opposed to accommodating the masses, which are the people that fit in the seat. But what is scary is the way I see it going is the masses are soon to be the people 100 pounds overweight or more who don't fit in the seat. If our society keeps normalizing obesity, unhealthy eating, all the things, that's what's going to happen. That's going to be the average. So I feel we all need to be accountable for our own health, our own body, our own ability to defend ourselves, even if that just means being able to run away, being in some sort of physical shape so that you can live a healthy, fun lifestyle, active. Now, how do I want to say this? Live that healthy lifestyle and not blame the world for you not fitting into a seat and not being able to do the lifestyle, and saying you are fat shamed. You're not being fat shamed because you can't fly in a regular airline seat. So I don't know where you're coming with that. So if you do not want to be healthy and more fit, or not want to seek help, then lay in the bed that you made and not expect the world to change for you. Be accountable for yourself and your health. In a nutshell, those first 2 A's of my 8 A's to happiness and life come into play here. Awareness and accountability. And by the way, if you want to hear all of the 8 A's to life and happiness, they start on episode 9. So I know this is a little bit harsh to hear today, some of the things I am saying, but my heart goes out to anyone struggling with weight issues. I've had it myself, not to the degree of not fitting on a plane, but I still had it. And food is the number one most accessible drug, especially here in America. And being overweight causes most of our health issues in society. Add stress to all that, and boom, there's the heart attacks, the heart disease, the diabetes, thyroid issues, joint issues, breathing issues, even bathing issues if you're that overweight. So I'm just doing a little tough love here, people. You may not like what I'm saying, but it is the truth. So there you have it, the weight and the wait at the airport. But like I said, this episode pertains to life, not just at the airport. Take that deep breath when things aren't going your way and you just want to lose your shit and be calm. You'll be able to handle it better. And take responsibility for your health. Take responsibility for how your lifestyle is. This is not just at the airport. I hope this episode provokes some thought and perhaps some action as well. I would so appreciate a follow and a 5-star review for my podcast. I would be so grateful. There's also a Q&A for each episode that you can utilize as well. And to follow me on Instagram or email, just the information, as always, is in the show notes. And until next time, I wish you much love and light.